Every day I live just for me. Every time I left and walked away, you never kept track of my failures. You love me all the same. You love me all the same. How could I have been so wrong when you were with me all alone? In my doubts, you never change. Erase my sins, forget my shame. You call me by my name. You love me all the same. I am just one in a billion, but you see me, give me meaning. You call me by my name. You love me, you love me. You love me, you love me. I keep losing sight of your vision. I still make mistakes I can't erase. You will always call me beloved. You love me all the same. You love me all the same. How could I have been so wrong when you were with me all alone? In my doubts, you never change. Erase my sins, forget my shame. You call me. You love me all the same. I am just one in a billion, but you see me, give me meaning. You call me by my name. You love me all the same. Love me, love me. Love me, love me. Love me, love me. Love me, love me.
I am feeling numb at the edge of me, so done. Deep regret and scar. Even through it all, you want my heart. You see me. You want me still. And you love all of me. You take what I bring, make beautiful things. And you love all of me. You take what I bring, make beautiful things. In the highs and lows, I am feeling far so close. your child. Even when I run, your love is wild. You see me, you want me still, and you love all of me. You take what I bring me, beautiful things, and you love all of me. You take what I bring me, beautiful things, and I lift my voice and I will sing all that you are, my everything. Now I surrender all that I am to you, only you. I lift my voice and I will sing all that you are, my everything. Now I surrender all that I am to you, only you, to you, only you. And you love all of me. You take what I bring, make beautiful things, and you love all of me. You take what I bring, make beautiful things.
I don't wanna be on my phone, but I can't be alone. Welcome to the modern way, trying to be somebody I'm not, but it's not what I want. Tell me there's another way. All of the lights are chased and now faded. All the cheap thrills were only time wasted. Tell me why society's plan should define who I am. Surely there's a higher way. All of my best friends are sick of pretending. We want the truth. So much is missing, so give us the real thing. I know it's you. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. I don't want a stereotype to decide who I am. You never knew me anyway. I'm over trying to find the next high, 'cause the high never lasts. I'ma go another way. All of the lights are chased and now faded. Dylan was right, the times they are changing. Tell me why society's plan should define who I am. Surely there's a higher way. All of my best friends are sick of pretending. We want the truth. So much is missing, so give us the real thing. I know it's you. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. All of my best friends are sick of pretending. We want the truth. So much is missing, so give us the real thing. I know it's you. I know it's you.
Hey, Rev. How you doing? Give me like a thumbs up if you're doing good. Yeah, thank you. Yes. It's so good to be here. My name is Rachel. That's Chris. We're just really excited to get started in a time of worship with you guys, a time where we get to thank God for who he is and what he's done for us, to connect with him in kind of a different way than we normally would when we're praying or reading the Bible, and for a time to just surrender what's going on in our lives and surrender it to him. So we're going to go ahead and get started in that. If y'all want to stand up with us, let's sing together.
Hey, you guys sound great. So good to be with you. Again, my name is Chris. I've been here a couple times, and we probably don't know each other very well. But if there's one thing that you need to know about me that's been true throughout my life, is I overthink everything. Back in high school, I would overthink my friendships, or what a friend would say to me. If they said something that I was unsure about, I would overthink it. And I couldn't sleep at night sometimes because I would just overthink everything. I overthought where I was gonna go to college. And a lot of times I was striving for something perfect, something that was sure. And even there's times I overthink, it's like, do I go with the cheesy gordita crunch or do I go with the Crunchwrap Supreme? I don't know. Do I shave the mustache? Do I not? What do you guys think? Don't tell me. But here's the thing, throughout my life, I've overthought everything. I've overcomplicated everything. And over time, that seeped in to the way that I viewed God. A lot of times I would make a mistake in life and I would think, man, what does God think of this? Does he still love me? Is he still proud of me? Or I would make a decision in life and I would just overthink who God was. And I'm gonna break it down for all of us tonight. Maybe you found yourself in a place like that before where you're overthinking every single thing in life, and sometimes you're overthinking who God is. You're overcomplicating who he is. But I wanna break it down for us and just say this, that God's love is not complicated. Who you were yesterday or a week ago, maybe you made some bad choices in life. God's love is so uncomplicated that he says to you right in this moment, I love you just as you are. You don't have to strive to be anything. You don't have to be perfect. All that he wants from us is for us to just come to him with an open heart and open hands and just say, God, here I am. Have your way in my life. And you need to know, Rev, that you're loved tonight. That we're singing to a God in this moment that cares about all the little things going on in your life and all the big things. He's proud of you. He loves you. And all he wants from us in return is just say, God, I love you right back. So even if you're not into God, you're not into this whole thing that we're doing tonight, would tonight be an opportunity for us to just take one step in receiving the love that God has for us and loving him right back, all right? Let's sing this next song together. There's a simplicity, humility to the way you love me, in honesty, a purity. God, you make it easy. No special words or formulas could ever win you over, for your love is undeserved. Even when I can't see clearly, somehow you just make it easy. Your love's uncomplicated. You love me just the way I am. So I stand before you. I'm totally surrendered with open hands and open arms. Jesus, have your way in. Oh, 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 oh. Jesus, have your way in. My brokenness, my loneliness, and the secrets you see. My deepest thoughts, my hidden wars. God, you see right through me. Even when I'm overthinking, somehow you just love me simply. Your love's uncomplicated. You love me just the way I am. That's right. So I stand before you. I'm totally surrendered with open hands and open arms. Jesus, have your way in. Oh, 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 oh. Jesus, have your way in. Oh, oh, oh. Jesus, have your way. I could sing over and over, I love you, it never grows old. How could I tell you enough that I love Let's sing that again. Come on. I could sing over and over. I love you. It never grows old. How could I tell you enough that I love you? I love you, I could sing over and over. I love you. It never grows old. Yeah. How could I tell you enough that I love you? I love you, Yeah, with everything we got tonight, we sing, I could sing over and over. I could sing over and over. I love you. It never grows old. How could I say it enough that I love you? I love you, I could sing over and over. I love you. It never grows old. How could I say it enough that I love you? I love you, Lord. Oh, we love you, Lord. Oh.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here. You're touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You're healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. He never stops working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. Oh, even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. Oh, even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. 'Cause you are a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. It's who you are, way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. 'Cause you are miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Let's sing it again one more time. Here we go. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. It's who you are. God, thank you so much for who you are in our lives. No matter what's happening, God, you're consistent, you're constant, you are there. You make a way for us when everything seems impossible, God. Everything seems messy. Everything seems uncertain. I'm overthinking things. And you make it simple. You're there. We can trust you, God. Remind us of that as we go through our day, go through our week. And God, help us learn something new tonight. Thank you for bringing us here safely. And thank you that we get to stand here and sing your praises together. It's in your name that we sing, and it's in your name that we pray. Amen. Thanks, Rev. You guys can have a seat.
Rev, welcome to the stage. Potentially, maybe my best friend, John Z.
Oh, your best friend, really? Is that? But yeah, okay. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Yeah, okay, that's good. I like that. Hey, can we make a little more noise for Chris Mustache Mason up here in the band? Yeah, woo! Well done. Hey, Rev, what's up? If you don't know me, can I just introduce myself right in the front end? My name is John, and I'm your student pastor here at the campus. I'm your student pastor online, people. Glad you're here joining us. Online people, let us know where you're watching from. I always love, people are on Mars, starting a colony up there already, so let us know where you're watching from. I want to hear it. People in the room, I get to hang out with you every single night. We get to sing some songs like we just did. We get to hear a message that is just for you as high school students. We also get to have a little bit of fun. And so we are about to do something that is the most fun you will have all night for at least like 3 of you, and that is a stage game. So here we go. Here's what I need you to do. It's an all play. And here's how an all play works. You all play, okay? That's how it works. So go ahead and stand on up. Stand on up. Everyone stand up. All right, at least half of you stood up. I'll take that, 50%. That's a pass. All right, stand up. Here's what you're gonna do. The name of the game is Think Fast. It's Think Fast. Why did people sit down at that? That's so funny. I was like, I can't think fast, I'm done. Okay, so the game is Think Fast. Here's how it's gonna work. There's gonna be a category that's gonna come up on the screen. So let's throw the first one up there right now just to see what it looks like. Snack food. All right, when I say go, a letter is gonna pop into that little light bulby thing, and you have to, the first person to say a snack food that begins with that letter wins. So you need a face off. So find someone you can face off against. Find someone that looks like they can't think very fast, because that'll mean you'll win, okay? Don't say that to them, but they'll know it. Okay. No, I'm joking. Here we go. So let's do the first category. Let's do the first one. Snack food. With B. Snack food that begins with the letter B. First person to say one that begins with B is the winner. The other person can take a seat. The other person can take a seat. A double elimination. All right. The rules are pretty loose. If you said any kind of food that began with the letter B, you're in, okay? Banana, bubblegum, bacon, bagels, bugles. What? Banana? Yeah, that was the first one I said, but if you said banana twice, then you're a double winner, okay? All right, let's do one more. Find one more person near you if you can. Find one more person around in your area. Let's see what the next category is. Online, let us know what you think the answer is to. Cartoon character. Are you ready? Cartoon character that begins with the letter O. First one to say it wins. Cartoon character with O. Someone got roasted over there, apparently. Okay. All right, hey, if you're... Hey, who's still up? Who's still up? All right, come on up, come on up. Yeah, well, one of you two. Whichever one of you wants to be up here at least, definitely come on up. Oh, volunteer Kenzie. Okay. Yeah, come on. All right, let yourself on up. My dude, always the winner. Yeah, come on. You're a constant presence up here now. Come on up. If you want to, yeah, if you were standing and you feel like you should be up here, then you should. Come on up. Follow your heart. Okay, that's enough. No one else follow their hearts. The rest of you stay seated, okay? Where's Bjorn? Is Bjorn around? Come on out, Bjorn. Bjorn, come up here. Or no? Yes? No? If you're feeling it, Bjorn, come out. Okay. All right. Ooh, there's a lot of you. Okay, we're just going to do name and we're going to do grade. We're just going to see who's represented up here, okay? So name. Mackenzie. Everyone say, hey, Mackenzie. Everyone say, hey, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, what grade are you in? She's a senior. Name. Grace. Everyone say, what's up, Grace? What grade are you in, Grace? Senior. I'm going to senior. Yeah, 12. That counts. Both same thing. Grade. Name. Name? Grade. Yeah, name. Grace. Everyone say, what's up, Grace? I used all my brain power, apparently. And then what grade? 10th grade. She's a sophomore. Name. Maddie. We got Maddie. Everyone say, what's up, Maddie? What's up, Maddie? And then Maddie, what grade are you in? She's a 10th grader. Seniors and 10th graders. Are you going to break the trend? Let's see. Name? Ethan. We got Ethan. Everyone say, what's up, Ethan? Oh, some crowd favorite. All right. Ethan, what grade are you in? Freshman. Freshman. Are there any other freshmen here? Few. Okay. They're here. Good. The classic. Paul. Hey, everyone say, I've said your name for you, so you got the name tag. We're good. Everyone say, what's up, Paul? Paul's kind of the living legend up here now. He's like the stage game master. Okay. And then Paul, what grade are you in? He's a junior. Okay, we're getting a full run here. Name. Zach. We got Zach. Everyone say, what's up, Zach? I think last time I just said Zach and forgot to tell people to cheer. So maybe just cheer one more time to make up for last time. Ooh, all right, Zach, you're here. They're glad you're here. And Zach, what grade are you in? He's a 10th grader. And then last but not least, your name? Bjorn Bagnell, the Norwegian wonder kid. 28th grade. He's in 28th grade. Awesome. Okay. My money's on Bjorn, but okay. So here's what's going to happen. Sorry, camera people. There's going to be a category that comes up on the screen. The first one to say it, you just yell it out, okay? Just yell it out. The first one to yell it out is the winner. The person with the most points when I just say we're done, decide we're done, will win, okay? So let's do the first category here. 3-syllable word. A 3-syllable word that begins with the letter, let's see it. H. Hamilton. All right, yeah, we'll take it. There we go. 1 point for Grace. Nice. And cultured at the same time. You win. Yeah, that was it. Good job. Okay. All right. At least, yeah, that's good. Boy's name. All right, think boy's name. That's a category. Begins with the letter, let's see it. S. Boy's name with a, oh, right there. Oh, isn't he in your small group? Okay, there's some collusion going on here. That's fine. I'll look the other way. Let's do another one. We got 1 and 1. Animal that flies. Okay, that begins with the letter W. Waldo, isn't that a person? A what? I don't think that, oh, was that Grace? All right, hey, we'll take audience help. That's fine. Wasp, we'll count it. Grace with 2 points. Let's do a couple more. What's the next one? Something found in a zoo. Okay, that begins with the letter, let's see. L. Oh, line right. Was it Paul? Oh, yeah, Paul's on it. Okay, he's making his comeback. So what do we got? 1, 1, 2? Okay, still time to make a comeback here. Let's see. Next category, something you recycle that begins with the letter, let's see, C. Ooh, can? Okay, right there. Bjorn, have you said one yet? You said them all, okay. All right, we got time for one more. Let's do one more. A math word. Okay, what's math word that begins with the letter J? J's not even a real letter. What's going on? What's a math word that begins with the letter J? Just J? Joint formula. What in the world? You're smarter than all of us combined. Okay, yeah, we're gonna give you that point. Wow. Compound word, but I'll take it, okay? I'll take it. So what does that leave? Doing my math, I think that makes Grace the winner. 2 is as high as I can go, right? 2, is that it? Yeah, okay, hey, Grace. Well, Grace is the winner. Let's make some noise for Grace. Grace, you're up. You're one shot, Grace. All right, hey, the rest of you can find a seat. Grace, you got a Starbucks gift card, but hey, you're not done yet, Grace. You're not done yet. You get to take your one shot at glory. Your one shot to be a legend on this campus. Your name will never be forgotten. You'll be immortalized. Jasper will write a song about you. Okay, there it is. So Grace, here, you can scoot up a little bit. Scoot into the light. This is your one shot. Shoot not into the light. Shoot, yeah. Aim it, maybe aim a little high. That's my technique. Your one shot, your one opportunity. Oh, wow, that was so close. That was so incredibly close. You seem so uncertain. I thought it wasn't gonna be that good, but that was the closest one we've had by far this year. Well done. All right, hey, can we make some noise for Grace? Well done, Grace. Wow, that was far surpassed my expectations. Well done, Grace. Okay, Rev, I've just got one announcement for you, but it's one I'm a little bit excited about. This year has looked really different. A lot of things have changed. But the one thing that's never changed for us at church is that we need community. And we want this to be a place about community. Community is a place you can come and you can encourage one another. You can support each other. You can help each other follow Jesus better. And so with that, we are going to relaunch in-person small groups here on campus on March 17th. So here's the information. Yeah, I'm excited about that. We get to be in the room together. I have missed small groups with you all. I usually just come around and get everyone's snacks and then have games like 10 pounds by the end of the night. I've missed that. So here's what you need to know. March 17th, that's 2 weeks, okay? Not next week, 2 weeks. March 17th, it's gonna be half an hour after the service ends. So we end like around 8:30ish. Half an hour after that, you're gonna have group time. The first night's gonna be kind of like an informal kickoff. So if you are already part of a group, show up that night. We'll get your group back in your room. You can have some time to hang out, reconnect. If you're not part of a group, please show up that night. We will get you in a group. That is one of the best things we do here. So show up, we'll get you in a group of your same age, your same gender. So like 9th grade girls, 10th grade guys, it'll be the same age and gender. With an adult leader, some other people in your age range. Here's the other thing you need to know. We are installing lobby games. So 9 Square's coming back. We're gonna do bags. And we're also reopening the cafe. So coffee, drinks, we're gonna have candy, we're gonna have pop. So yeah, you can have food, you can have fun, you can have community. It's all gonna be back. Online, I just want to say a quick aside for you. Join us on Rally Night still. We are not doing away with online. It's totally an awesome way to join us still. So please don't disappear. Please don't think we're like cutting everything. Online's still going to be here. Join us for Rally Night. You're important too online. So thanks for being here. All right, with that, Rev, Brandon is still around. I know we had a guest speaker last week, but we have another guest speaker this week. You've seen her before, though. Her name is Emily Alexander, all right? She's awesome. I'm a big fan of hers. So after the video comes out, can you give Emily a huge round of applause, make her feel welcome at Lino? Can you do that, Rev? Yes, already a pre-round of applause. Great. Awesome. All right, with that, Rev, check out this video and welcome Emily when she comes out. Good to see you, Rev.
Yes, thank you. What up, Rev? It's so good to be back. If you don't know who I am, that's okay. My name is Emily Alexander. I'm one of the pastors here at EBC, and just a few short years ago, I was leading worship here at the Lino Lakes campus for Ground Zero and Revolution. And every Wednesday night, I would tell students like you, maybe it was one of you, you remember me saying that there is no better place for you to be on a Wednesday than right where you are. So those of you in the room, at other campuses, watching online, way to go, way to get here. When I was in high school, just a few short years ago, I was a part of a youth group just like this. And I gotta tell you, it's where I first learned about this relationship that I could have with Jesus. But I'm also a raging extrovert. So the number one reason I went to youth group was for my friends. The number two reason I went to youth group was because my boyfriend went to youth group. And maybe that means the number three reason I went to youth group is that I'd learn a little something about Jesus. I was the girl in the audience during the message who had one eye on the message and one eye like, okay, when's this gonna be over so I can socialize again? So, any raging extroverts out there watching? I'll try to make this quick. And if you're an introvert, here's what I can offer you. I'll be the only one talking. You can just sit back, relax, and listen, all right? But I'll never forget one time at youth group. Something in my spirit was paying closer attention because a light bulb came on in my mind. I was struck with this thought right between my eyes. Here's what it is: that Jesus was a real human being. Crazy. I was so struck by this realization. Jesus was a real human being. I mean, go with me here for a second, okay? Because as a kid, all the stories I ever heard about Jesus seemed so unreal, seemed so fictional, fable-like, all those miracles he did. Like when he calmed the storm, he's like, stop, and it did. You know, he walked on water. Ever try to do that? Everybody does, right? To no avail. Jesus did that. He healed broken limbs by just saying you are healed. Those stories always seemed so unreal to me. And whatever it was this night, I was struck by the realization that, whoa, Jesus was a human. Because those stories about Jesus walking on water, healing people, calming a storm, those are miracles. They explain to us the very divine nature of who Jesus is, and that's God. But may we not forget that he was also a human, which means that at some point when he was a baby, someone had to change that dirty cloth diaper. I'm just saying. When he was a kid, he had brothers. When he was a kid, they probably wrestled each other to the floor, kicked dirt on each other's faces. As a teenager, you know he got hangry. He for sure would have hit up the late night Taco Bell drive-thru. He would have been the guy after church standing at the closed Chick-fil-A going, why, God? Right? He was human. Now, here's the deal. We don't know a ton about Jesus as a human, as a little boy. We don't know a lot about him as a little boy, but we have one story. Jesus is 12 years old, and him and his parents are about to travel to a city called Jerusalem for a meal called the Passover meal, very important in their Jewish tradition. And so they go to this meal, and when the feast is over, they pack up and they head for home. And they get home, and mom and dad, Mary and Joseph, are like, did you get Jesus? No, did you get Jesus? Jesus wasn't there. They left him behind. And the Bible tells us that they looked for Jesus among his family and friends, and they didn't find him. So what did? They pack up the donkey and they head back to Jerusalem to find their 12-year-old son. And they find him right there in the temple. They found him at church, sitting at the feet of wise teachers, learning about God. And all these other adults are going, oh my gosh, look at that. 12-year-old Jesus, that's so cute. He's so ahead of his time. And his mom's like, hold on, not impressed. She's like, I have been looking all over for you. Now, in Jesus' defense, he wasn't like vandalizing the temple, right? Could you imagine packing up the donkey, going all the way back to Jerusalem to find your son has the temple in ruins? That's not what happened. He was sitting at the feet of wise teachers, learning about God. Why am I telling you all this? Great question. You see, I think we focus sometimes on his divinity that we forget to focus on his humanity, right? The story illustrates the very humanness of Jesus. And right now we're in the middle of a series called Good Grief. Good Grief, where we're tackling emotional health and the wisdom we can draw from God on this topic. So the reason I am drilling down, emphasizing the humanness of Jesus, is because Jesus had grief. Jesus had big emotions just like you and me. In fact, I would go as far to say that God sent his son Jesus to earth so that he could experience what it means to be fully human, big emotions and all. So as it pertains to our grief, as it pertains to our big emotions, I want to look at this word, surrender. Surrender. How can we surrender these emotions to God and find hope in the midst of our grief? Because here's the deal, grief is mean. Grief is unexpected. Grief hits us so hard. And when we are grieving, when we are dealing with an emotion that feels impossible, a circumstance that surprised us, that has left us feeling heavy, I think we do one of two things. I think one thing we do with our grief is we just try to forget it, right? We ignore it. We push those feelings so far down until we actually start to believe, I'm fine, look at me, fine. I do that. The other thing I think we do in our grief is that we let it consume us. We let it consume us to the point that it really isn't allowed to leave. It's like a dark cloud that follows us everywhere we go. And at some point, we don't even know how to get out of it. But surrender, Rev, that's our way through it. That is our way through the grief. It's how we find hope in the midst of it. Now, I want to give you a couple definitions of surrender. All right, the first is simply letting go of what you can't control. Now, for instance, Rev, this year hasn't been very kind to you, has it? I mean, you have had to navigate through more change in 1 year than I think any human being should go through in a whole lifetime. And I'm telling you, I've told you this before, you're doing it well. And I believe that you are practicing this type of surrender, letting go of what you can't control. One day school is open, the next day it's closed. One day you are pursuing an athletic college scholarship, and the next day your senior season, canceled. You can't control it, you just deal with it. One day you're hanging out with your friends, that's what you do. And the next day they're like, actually, you can't. Your friends go home, you go home, and now I'm home with my family all the time. You can't control it, you just deal with it. But another definition of surrender, let me give you a spiritual definition of surrender. Look here. letting go of your own will so that you can hand it over to God. What does that mean? Because frankly, Emily, this year has been filled with disappointment, cancellations, isolation, or maybe you're more like anxiety, depression, loneliness. Those are big emotions. Emotions that feel so unfair. Emotions that haven't gone away. Emotions maybe you prayed would go away, and they haven't. So what does that mean? By the way, just if I can make something very clear before we move on. Spiritual surrender is not surrendering to physical harm from another person. Spiritual surrender is not surrendering to self-harm. Spiritual surrender is not surrendering to unhealthy relationships. Hear me when I say those are not God's will. Go and talk to someone. When I talk about spiritual surrender, I'm talking about letting go of your own will, your own ideas of what life should feel like in exchange for God's will. So again, the question I want to answer tonight is how can we surrender these emotions to God and find hope in the midst of our grief? Now, to answer this question, I want to show you another really human moment in the life of Jesus. And I think that this might be one of the most raw, emotional, human moments that you will find in the life of Jesus. And to set it up, we're gonna jump ahead 21 years from the last time we met Jesus as a little boy in the temple. Because now he's 33 years old and he's at this same meal, the Passover meal with his friends, the disciples. And this time, this particular Passover meal, we often refer to as the Last Supper. Why? Well, because it was Jesus' Last Supper. Because he's sitting at this meal and he's telling his friends, listen, I'm about to die. And they're like, what? You see, Jesus, God sent him to this earth to be a payment for our sins. God's plan all along was to send Jesus to earth as the payment for your sins, my sins, their sins. His plan was for Jesus to restore all people and all creation back to God. But in order to do that, Jesus had to die. And he knew that. And he knew that his time was drawing near. And at the end of this meal, they go to a place called the Garden of Gethsemane. That's where I want to pick up the story. Look what it says. You can follow along here. They went to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and Jesus said, sit here while I go and pray. Who's he talking to? The 12, his disciples. Sit here while I go and pray. He then took Peter, James, and John, who I imagine are closer friends to Jesus. He takes those three with him, and he became deeply troubled and distressed. He told them, my soul is crushed to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. Who's he keeping watch for? He's keeping watch for the people that are coming to arrest him, to put him on trial, to kill him. You three, stay here and keep watch. Let's see where Jesus goes. He went on a little further and fell to the ground. He prayed, if it were possible, the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. Abba, Father, he cried out, everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine. The writer, Mark, he tells us that 2 more times Jesus went back to pray that prayer. Father, I know it's possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Jesus was in agony over what was coming. Now, I want you to pay closest attention. Let's go back one. Pay closest attention to the highlighted word, grief. You ever feel that? You ever feel grief? Go to the next slide. Do you ever feel suffering? Big emotions, right? Jesus felt those emotions. He had them too. But in all of his agony, what do we see? We see the spiritual definition of surrender. God, I want your will, not mine. So let's go back to our question. How can we surrender our big emotions to God just like Jesus did in the garden? How can we surrender our emotions to God and find hope in the midst of our grief? Well, I see two ways. Two ways that Jesus himself practiced spiritual surrender right there in the garden. And I think that these are the two ways that we can practice surrender in our own life when we are also experiencing big emotions, when we are in the middle of our own grief. And here's the first one. We must remember that surrender seeks support. Jesus in the garden that day, frankly, Jesus in all his ministry always had friends nearby. He had the 12 who were with him, teaching, praying, healing. They were with him. He had those 3 closest friends that he brought a little further, a little closer to him. He had people. Jesus didn't do his ministry alone, and in the garden that day, that was no exception. Remember, the text told us that those 3 friends got to hear him say that he was crushed to the point of death. Point of death. You see, in order to surrender, we have to seek support. And by the way, I think when we seek support, we need to make sure that the people we are reaching out to actually have the ability to support us, right? I mean, you need to make sure that the people you are reaching out to, you are looking to for support, have the ability to carry your burdens in a way that doesn't lead to more pain. Rev, this is so important. Let me say it again. You have to make sure that when you reach out for someone to support you, you are reaching out to people who have the capacity to carry your burdens in a way that doesn't lead to more pain. Come on, let's go get drunk. The grief will go away. It'll be so easy. Rev, you know that's there when you sober up, don't you? And wouldn't you say that leads to more pain? Support isn't a text that goes unanswered for days when you reach out. Friends, those are signs that the people you're reaching out to don't have the capacity to support you. Let me give you some other options. Your parents. Do you know what the crazy thing is about your parents? Is that they used to be you. They were teenagers. They carried the burdens that you're carrying. It feels uncomfortable to talk to our parents, I get it. But they know something. They, in fact, want to help carry your burdens because they get it. Your small group leader here tonight, they said, I want to support you. I want to be a small group leader so that I can come alongside you when you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents, when you don't know who else to turn to. Your small group leader says, I'll be there. How about your student pastor? You guys have incredible student pastors. How about a coach? I had so many coaches in my life that taught me about life, that I could turn to for help. Your grandparents, I had coffee with my grandma and grandpa so many times throughout their lives. They had an influence in my life. They were my support system, because the point is never to isolate, but to lean into that support system. Jesus did that in the garden that day. He leaned into the support system that he had built up all around him, and he would urge us to do the same. So let me ask you, who's the first person that comes to your mind? And do they have the capacity to carry your burdens in a way that doesn't lead to more pain? You gotta surrender. You gotta seek support in your surrender. The second way we can surrender our emotions to God and find hope in the midst of grief is to actually talk to God. I mean, that's what prayer is, right? Prayer is talking to God, but have you ever talked to him in a way that felt vulnerable and honest? We see Jesus crying out to God. Have you ever cried out to God? It can feel weird. Most of my prayers in the morning are, God, thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you for my kids. Thank you for their health. Thank you for my marriage, my husband, my job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also pray this prayer, which I would encourage you to try. God, help me to see people as you see people. Help me today to see people as you see people. But what about when I'm grieving? What about when I'm alone and in distress? You want to know what my prayers sound like? It's about to get loud. God, where are you? Why don't I feel you? Why do I feel like you have abandoned me? Why do I feel so alone? You ever prayed prayers like that? God says, Emily, you're not alone. I just showed you a story where Jesus himself prayed those prayers. In the garden that day, Jesus cried out to God. Did you hear it? It wasn't, Abba, Father, I know it's possible for you. Would you just take my pain? No, the text said he fell to the ground. Someone saw Jesus fall to the ground and heard him cry, Abba, Father, if it is possible, take the suffering away. Jesus cries. You know the word Abba? That word was reserved for someone that you could trust and rely on. It was reserved for a close relationship. You would not use the word Abba to mean teacher or boss or coach. No, this was for someone you could trust and rely on, just like what a father is supposed to be. So what we hear, what we see from Jesus is this childlike crying out to the Father, to the one he can trust, because that's who God is. He is the perfect Father. And Jesus understood in the garden that day that I can trust you. You are in the fight with me. Maybe someone else needs to hear that tonight. Maybe someone else needs to hear that God is actually with you in your grief. Jesus was always in the business of teaching his disciples about life, right? And I want to show you something that he says to them about when they find trouble in this life. He says, in this world, you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. God doesn't promise no trouble. In fact, you've probably already experienced trouble in your life. God doesn't promise no trouble. He promises that he'll be with us in the trouble. And you know what's crazy about that moment in the garden where Jesus fell to the ground and cried out to God in his most vulnerable, agonizing moment? We don't read that God answered him back. Isn't that interesting? That Jesus is crying out in an agonizing moment, and we don't read that God answered back. Do you know what I think that means? I think that even though Jesus didn't hear the audible voice of God in that moment that we know of, it didn't stop him from crying out. Why? Because whether or not you hear the audible voice of God responding back to you doesn't mean that he is not with you and that he is not in the fight. We have to get out of the why me, why God mentality, because I think we go there. It's easier to blame, isn't it? Than it is to ask for help, than it is to believe that he is with us and just surrender and ask for help. Getting alone with God to share with him your biggest emotions and grief, I am telling you, will have a powerful impact on your soul. How do I know that? Because I am not a person who likes to get vulnerable with God. It is uncomfortable for me to pray. It is uncomfortable for me to share my emotions with, frankly, anybody. In fact, standing on this stage and telling you how vulnerable I feel feels very vulnerable and uncomfortable to me. But I made a commitment to Jesus long ago. Jesus, I do as you do. If Jesus can get vulnerable in the garden, if Jesus can cry out to God, then so must I. Abba, Father. You know, about 2 weeks ago, I was backstage and I was experiencing grief. Grief that I have not felt in a long time. It was like something in me, in my spirit, was so overcome with sadness and grief over something I was dealing with. I fell to the ground and I was weeping. This is not a fake story for the point of the illustration, okay? I was on the ground weeping. And the only thing I could think to do in that moment was cry out to God and say, I trust you. You know the cries of my heart. You know what I am agonizing over. I know that you are with me in the pain. I kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It was vulnerable. It was hard. It wasn't easy. It felt uncomfortable, but it was a powerful moment for me. Talk to God. Get real. Fight through the discomfort of prayer that you might feel, and remember that God is with you in the fight. I want to close and point out the most powerful 9 words you'll ever read in the Bible. I think this. These 9 words are the words I want you to take with you tonight. I believe these 9 words have the power to shift your pain into purpose time and time again. In fact, my prayer would be that you would take these 9 words with you for the rest of your life. That maybe in just the right moment, these 9 words would be so present on your mind that you would speak them out loud. You ready? I want your will to be done, not mine. Can we say that together? All 9 campuses watching online, ready? I want your will to be done, not mine. Rev, that is surrender. Those are the words that Jesus chose when he was at his lowest point in the garden. I want your will to be done, not mine. When you're looking for hope in the midst of grief, remember that surrender seeks support. Reaching out to someone who has the capacity to carry your burdens in a way that doesn't lead to more pain. And may we always remember to talk to God. Get alone with God. Tell him how you really feel. And at the end of your prayers, would you go back to those 9 words? I want your will to be done, not mine. Let's pray together, all campuses online. Let's pray. Jesus, you have always been with us, haven't you? You are always near. You are always with us. May we remember that in our grief. When we are so inclined to turn away from you, when we are so inclined to blame you, it just feels easier. May we be people that step towards you. Maybe say audibly out loud, I trust you, Lord. And when we just can't or don't know how to move forward, may we remember surrender, letting go, handing it over to you. I want your will to be done, not mine, Lord. Be with these students for the rest of the night, into their week, as they head into spring break, whatever their month looks like. Jesus, be with them. May they experience you in a new way, Father. We love you. We praise you. Amen. Rev, thanks for being here tonight at all of our campuses online. We will see you next week. Peace.
Yeah.